What simple tip is Uber Eats just not teaching all food delivery drivers? How would you actually like to earn 48% more money than you are right now with this simple hack? And initially, it really does not take much effort, but you are going to have to show consistent effort, and it's really not hard for every order that you do take. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to go through all of my September Uber Eats orders. Now, just relax. It's not going to be that bad. Your time's valuable, and so is mine. So I'm going to quickly go through them. We're going to look for some facts, some trends, some patterns. We're going to look at driver pay. We're going to look at the tips that the customer gives. And then something you may not have thought of, we're going to look at the fee that Uber Eats charges the customer for that glorious honor of using the Uber Eats app. And this could play into how many tips you get. So we're going to find out. So I'm going to reveal that hack, that very simple tip during the process of going through those September orders. And then later, I'm going to show a chart that summarizes some key findings. And between the information of going through my orders and then that summary chart, you're going to be set up for success to earn a lot more money than you are now. Before we get started, I would love to thank Twinson. I'll put his comment up here. He was inspired after watching my last video about making $63,000 to date on Uber Eats and, of course, the other apps. And that's just part-time. He wanted to see if I could show all my orders, and then you can see how much of the income comes from tips. So yes, and thank you for that, Twinson, and everybody else is going to benefit from that as well. All right, let's get started. So the first one was a shop and pay order. Took an hour, almost 5 miles from Target. Fare was $11.10, tip $3. So you can see my earnings $14.10. Customer fare, and this is the amount that they paid to Uber Eats for the privilege of using the app. That was $10.88. Looks like they did get a customer promotion, $4. They tipped me $3. My earnings were $14.10. Here's an important thing to remember. At the bottom here, let's read this. The Uber service fee this is the amount we take to serve our users and grow our business. This negative amounts, that means what you earned beyond fares, such as promotions, was greater than the Uber service fees you owed. So I'll skip ahead real quick because down here it also says the Uber service fee is collected from the customer's fare, but it is charged to you, the driver. So keep this in mind as we scroll through these. There's fees that we pay Uber Eats as well. So if you look at the pattern, you'll see how it works out. All right, let's get on to this next order. It was to a grocery store, 25 minutes, 5 miles, and $5.71. Tip was $4.30. Total pay was $10.01. Not too bad. That's like, what, $30 an hour? The customer fare, they paid $9.69. So they paid almost $10 for the privilege of using the app. They tipped me $4.30, and then you can see the earnings there. So I paid a service fee of almost $4. Next, this is food delivery, $10.50. It was to a restaurant, 21 minutes, 2 miles. That's great. Fare was $2.52. Come on, that's ridiculous. Wow, look at that tip, $7.98. So my total pay was $10.50. And then you can see here, look at this craziness. The customer fare, and this isn't even for the food, $16.56 to use that. Oh, then they did get a promotion here, $9. Maybe that's partially why they tipped me so well, because they got a discount and they maybe put a large part of that towards the tip. And then I paid a $5 service fee. So let me interrupt here real quick to give you that hack, that very simple tip. Do you notice that I'm receiving tips on all my orders? Do you know why? That's because I cherry pick. I only take profitable orders. And there is a technique, a way that you can learn this too, but more on that in a little bit. So that is the secret that Uber Eats refuses to share with drivers. They could tell us how to pick profitable orders. Obviously, shame on Uber Eats for not giving all orders as profitable orders. Something to consider. So don't put your trust in Uber Eats. You need to use your own intellect, and based on your experience and obviously benefiting from mine, you can earn a lot more than what Uber Eats would want you to earn. So that's the tip. Let's get right back into these orders. Next, another delivery, 10:04. This was, again, another restaurant, 11 minutes, 3 miles, and it was $3. How ridiculous. Tip was good, $7, so $10. Those are great earnings. That's like $50 an hour if you could do a ton of those. All right, customer fare, $12.58. They got a small promotion there, $7 tip. So that's something. And then I paid an $8 fee there. Skip ahead of that. Next, a delivery, 10:64, and it was to a restaurant. Oh, I know what happened here. It was slow, and that was my excuse to go to another town. 27 minutes, almost 10 miles, and $7.15, obviously because of the mileage. The tip was $3.49, so $10.64. That was a borderline order, and I remember this. I know I took it because I wanted to go to another town. So the service fee, the customer paid $6.44. They did get a $5 promotion, $3.49 tip. So you can see negative $5.66 to me. Next, shop and pay order, and I did get a lot of these in September. And UberEats was heavily advertising. So $14.56, grocery store, wow, basically an hour, 8 miles. The fare was $8.56, tip $6. So $14.56 for an hour, that's not very good earnings. Customer paid almost $20 for the privilege of using the app. They did get a $5 discount, and then they tipped me well. So maybe that's partially because of the shop and pay order. All right, next one, delivery, 11:41. Restaurant, and 21 minutes, whoa, 12.6 miles. 586, tip $5.55, $11 for that many miles. That's not good. Time is good, but not the miles. So I wonder why I took that order. I'll bet it was slow and I wanted to be busy. So again, and I'll cover that here at the end. You need to be wise in picking profitable orders. So the customer fare, $6. They got basically a $2 discount, gave me a good tip, and moving on. So delivery, 11:14. This was Starbucks. 15 minutes, 2 miles, $3 fare. That's ridiculous. Look at this great tip, $8. So $11. That's a great order, high paying. And then they got a significant discount. So interesting. And that brings up a good point. Please share in the comments right now, just these few orders that you've seen. Do you think that when Uber Eats is giving a discount to the customer, do they pass that on to you with a higher tip? Do you think so? Please share that. And I think all drivers are going to benefit from hearing your insights into this, and then later when you go back and look at your own earnings. Are we really getting high tips because Uber Eats gives a good discount to the customer? All right, next one, $8. That was 20 minutes, a Mexican restaurant. I know this place. And then $3 for 5 miles, 20 minutes. That's sad. So with the tip, $4.88, that brought it up to $8. That's okay. Customer, they got a $3 discount. So overall, this was an okay order. There was nothing thrilling going on here. Next, whoa, what's this? Food delivery, $33.88. 48 minutes already. Those are great earnings. 10 miles, that's a little bit far. So this was a stacked order. $9.33. If there was no tip, that'd have been ridiculous. But look at this, a $24.55 tip. That's where the money is. So, wow, you have to do some math here. They paid $43. I know it was a stacked order, and $22 in promotions. So they still paid $20 for the both of them, but a great tip. I think in this case, they did pass that discount on to me as a tip. But in reality, it would not have been worth to do this trip without the great tip. All right, next, another huge one. Shop and pay, $40.70. And then 1 hour, that's still really good earnings. 22 and a half miles. I actually don't remember this one, but all right, that may not have been such a good one. So basically $30 fare, $11 tip, $40 earnings. They were charged by Uber $10.59. They got a $7 discount. They tipped me $11.15. So I think they tipped me well because of the shop and pay order and the distance. Maybe not so much because of the discount. And then you can see real quick, minus $25.89. That's what Uber did not charge me. All right, next one here, another shop and pay order, $11.36. And then looking at it closer, 48 minutes. And it was to Target, 6 miles. Fare was $7.36, tip $4, $11.36. Yeah, that's not okay for hourly pay. Customer fare, $9, tip was $4. Yeah, that was a blah order. I just trust that I got in and out. This parking lot's getting popular. All right, next was a food delivery, $9.47. And we're looking at 15 minutes. That's pretty good. And 2.5 miles. This is a great order. To a restaurant, and then they gave, the fare was $3.27. This would not have been a worthwhile order if the customer didn't tip. Tip $6.20, that's a good tip, so $9.47. Overall, the customer was charged $12.58 by Uber, and they still gave a $6 tip. Wow, all right, so that's a good customer. You can tell, I think, for the pattern there. They tipped well without a discount. Next, a shop and pay order, $15.01. And it was to a grocery store, obviously. Fare, $12. All right, I skipped something here. 27 minutes, almost 10 miles. That's why the fare was higher. Low tip, $15. Customer was charged $6.38. All right, so this was an okay order. Next, shop and pay, $14.04. We're looking at 43 minutes. Is that worth it for $14? Wow, 10.3 miles. Grocery store. You know, I do remember this one. I was far away, and so I took this order, and it paid me to get back to my location. So that is why I did the order. Otherwise, I'd have had to come home for free. So why not get paid? Customer fare was charged $10.87. They did get a $4 discount, $5 tip. All right, so I did that to get paid to go home. All right, delivery, $10.03. This is a restaurant, 12 minutes, 3 miles. All right, you can see a pattern here, right? Little time, low miles. Fare was $3.51. Without a tip, this would be ridiculous. $6.52, $10, good. Customer fare, $8.26. Tipped well. That was a good order. Look for ones like that. Next, food delivery, $9. And this was 21 minutes, 8 miles, a little bit of high miles. And I think that's always my excuse. It was slow and I wanted to make some money. So $5, that would not have been worth it without a tip. They did an okay tip, $4. Customer paid $6.84. Oh, interesting. And they got a $4 discount. So that probably was not a good order, but I took it because it was slow. Next, $8.98, and it is 14 minutes, 5.87 miles, and it's Jersey Mike's. $3.30, $5.68 tip. That's pretty good. $8.98. The miles were a little high, but it was okay. Customer was charged $9.82. They did get a discount, and they sort of gave me a good tip. That was a marginal order. Shop and pay, $13.03. That one, 44 minutes, 8 miles. That already you can tell is not good. It was Target, $11.03, a $2 tip. Wow, thank you. That's like $1 above the usual poor tip of $1 to have some compassion on the driver that, yeah, I tipped, and it was $1. So customer fare was $10.20. Nothing, no discounts. So, all right, this next one, shop and pay, $29.15. 40 minutes, that's still good. 3.52 miles, this is a great order. And it was grocery store, fare $9.13. Look at that, a $20 tip. That is a great customer. Thank you. Thank you. That is a great order. And they were charged $23.38. They did get a $5 discount. That was a great order. Skip that. All right, food delivery. I'm skipping the Prop 22. You'll see it at the end. Food delivery, $9.08. Grocery store, 908. Oh, all right, 25 minutes, 6.6 miles, no tip. I don't remember, but that wasn't really a good order. So they paid $7.40. Yeah, that one wasn't good. Shop and Pay, 1808. That one is 22 minutes, 44 seconds, 7.5 miles. And they got a $12.90. I got a $12.97 fare, $5 tip, $18. And no real discounts there. So 22.8. That was an okay order. Next, food delivery, and we're almost done here. 22.43, 46 minutes. That's okay. Well, 13 miles, that's ridiculous. So something was going on here. 7.43 with no tip. Absolutely not. You are losing money. You will go out of business if you take this. But I got a $15 tip, so thank you. They're very kind. $7.40 is what they were charged. Thank you. All right, that tip, that high tip, that saved the day. Otherwise, this was not a good order. Next, Shop and Pay, 22.23, 35 minutes. That's good. Basically $40 an hour. 6 miles, good. Grocery store fare was $7.23. Tip $15. All right, they had a fare of $20.67. All right, this was a good order. Next, another Shop and Pay. This is $26.11. And obviously grocery store, 45 minutes. Yeah, that's good. 5 miles, good. Fare, $16.63. Interesting. The tip was $9.48. And they did get a discount, $12.55. They got a $6 discount. So that was a good order. All right, next delivery, $10.07. 30 minutes. All right, $20 an hour, 7 miles, a little bit high. This was from a Rite Aid, Walgreens kind of thing. Fare was $9.07, so borderline, and then a $1 tip. Oh, thanks, a $1 tip. That was a marginal or average order. I wouldn't try to do those, but it probably was slow. They had a $7 service fee. All right, yeah, enough said. That was an order I had to cancel. Next, $14.72. This one was 24 minutes, 3.5 miles, sushi place. Incidentally, I missed a really high-paying offer from there, but I was too slow, and so I drove and hung out, and I ended up getting this one, which was not as high pay as that one. $3.72, 3.5 miles. That's like $1. That's not really good. And this was dinner time. Tip $11. This is what made it good. $14.72. And for my memory, I think it was like a $40 or $50 payout for the one I missed. So customer fare, $22.38. They did get an $8 discount. Maybe that's why they tipped me so well, although it was dinner. So what do you think? Next, $8.51. And it's 23 minutes, 8 miles. Jersey Mike's fare, $4.51, tip $4. And I'm going to speed up here. Customer, they paid almost $10. They got a $4 discount. Next, food delivery, $19.05. And this was a soup place, roughly 40 minutes, 11 miles. All right, I can already tell. This was its slow excuse, and so I took it. $9.46, that would not really be worth it without a tip, but they did give $9.59. I wonder why. Looking at that, $17. That is crazy. Uber Eats charged them $17. How sad. And obviously, some of these fees get adjusted if they're on that program where you pay like $10 a month as a customer. But I don't have data on that because I don't do that. So next, $22.48 delivery, 42 minutes. Okay, 12.5 miles, that's a long way. Same excuse, it was slow. Fare, $13.13, $9 tip, that's good. And they did get an $8 discount. They were charged $18.50, $8 discount. So that was a good order. Shop and Pay, $6.47. All right, this is suspicious. Why so low? 25 minutes and 5 miles. That's probably not good. A $1 tip. All right, there you go. And yeah, $8. So that was not really good order. We're wrapping up here. 14:03, 26 minutes, 8.5 miles. Fare $13. There's a big $1 tip from Aldi. I remember this one. This lady got a little quart of milk from Aldi's for that long distance, 9 miles, and then the $1 tip. So That's strange. There were no discounts. So who knows? Every customer is different. And then the last one I'm pretty sure is $13.86 food delivery. Pizza place 15 minutes under 3 miles. Fare was $3.06. The tip $10.80. Great order. And I'm pretty sure it was a dinner or late afternoon. They paid a $7 fee. So the dinner order appears to be where you really make some money. So that wraps up those orders, and I will do my best to cut out some spaces in time. Let's bring up this chart. This is a summary of all of September, and you can see by week. I track my online and active time, and for the sake of time, I'm not going to go over that now. You can see the trips, the fare, and then the Prop 22 money that I get. So you can see overall, if you do the math, you can see $232 would be how much the base pay is. Then tips, $212. What's the percentage of that? So when you do the math, that works out to 48%. Hence the information in the title of this video. You can make 48% more by only selecting profitable orders. And that means a large part of your pay comes from the tips. So next, let's see the impact of that fee that UberEats charges the customer. So if you look at, and I averaged these out from all those that I went to, this is the average, plus and minus. So that fee is the fee to us is roughly 6% of the total earnings. Here in California, we get Prop 22 that jumped up to 31%. So we're paying a lot in fees. Tips were only 16% and net fare is 15%. So in light of that, I don't think that, well, actually, based on your comments and then my thoughts as well, I do think when Uber Eats gives a discount to the customer, they're more generous with their tips. But I had the assumption that because Uber Eats charges a fee, and especially such a high fee to the customer, maybe they thought we get enough money as it is and they don't need to tip. So maybe that's why we get those dollar tips, to feel good that they did tip us. But in reality, after looking at all that information, I don't think the fee that Uber Eats charges the customer really plays in too much into how much they tip us. I will say during dinner time, some of those orders that clearly played into it. But I think if you deliver during peak meal times, that's when you're really going to make the money, and especially the dinner rush, because the customers know you're bringing them dinner and they want to tip you well. Overall, just say all day delivering. I thought before that the fee that the Uber Eats charges the customer, I thought that played more into our pay. But after reflecting on that, this September data, I don't think so. It's one thing to tell you to pick profitable orders, and that is the hack. But how are you going to get to that 48% in more earnings by getting those tips unless you know how to pick profitable orders? So I've made a video teaching you how to deliver food safely and profitably. Watch that video next. That is going to help you attain those kind of high earnings. So thank you, and I'll see you in the comments there.